Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering who can help me write a book about my life. If you're looking for a professional, I have two awesome options that you can choose from, but their roles are very different. By the end of this video, you will learn how to find writers in your network, why ghostwriters and coaches are both great options, and how to be realistic about your needs and budget. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a free opportunity. Let's dive in. There are lots of people who could help you write a book, and there's lots of different ways in which they can help you. You may have people who work at your company who could gather materials to help you. You may have people on your team who put out press releases and statements on your behalf who may be able to help guide this process. You may have communications and marketing assistants who really understand your message and can help guide the story forward. I remember one specific project I worked on. It involved a CEO, and it was interesting because every time we had a meeting, myself as the ghostwriter, the CEO, and another person was on the call with us, and it was an executive with the company. And we all talked through the book. We all talked through these topics. And it was interesting seeing the role that the employee played in helping to guide the message of the book, in helping to galvanize the story. You know, there's other times where, and one specific project I think about a lot involves a family history and a lot of family depth. And the person I worked with, the author I worked with, he actually had somebody on his staff who helped compile all of these stories. So when he ended up engaging with me as a ghostwriter to help write the book, we already had all this material gathered. So it's interesting seeing the variation in roles that people can play in helping to bring together a book. You could have friends, you could have business associates, you could have relatives, people in your life who could help you guide this project forward and help contribute and help you bring your story together. You know, but when you're looking at professionals and you're looking at bringing on a professional, you're really thinking about ghostwriters or coaches. Those are the two tracks of professional support during the writing process. And both of them are great for authors. They're great for helping to unlock a story's power and great to build momentum in the writing process. Let's explore the similarities and differences between ghostwriting and coaching. Ghostwriters are driving the writing forward. They are people who are paid to write as other people. I work as a ghostwriter. I've been doing it for 5 years now, and I've ghostwritten dozens of books, probably at this point about 30. And it's really interesting because every voice and every story is different. So the style that I'm using as a ghostwriter is different for every single project. The role that I play in every single project is a little bit different. You know, but really it's about unlocking the voice. It's about getting the message right. It's about empowering the author to tell the best version of their story, whether that's helping them with research, whether that's helping them with interviews, whether that's helping them with writing support. Ghostwriter encapsulates a lot of different things, and it's just neat to see the momentum building when I start working with somebody. You know, to see the project go from just an idea to a draft in 3 to 6 months. It's an awesome thing. So ghostwriters are guiding the process. It's a great choice for you if, you know, you're really struggling to put words down or you don't have the time. A ghostwriter is a great choice. Another option, another possibility is working with a writing coach. And a writing coach is also an awesome option. And a writing coach is a great choice for somebody who is good at doing writing, but just needs a little more accountability. You know, maybe needs just a little bit of a boost, a little bit of support, a little bit of structure. It can be difficult and scary to write a book alone. And it can be a very lonely process. You know, the collaborative element of writing coaching and ghostwriting is great, but writing coaching specifically allows you as the author to continue driving forward with the writing while getting all these great resources and insights and perspectives. You know, does this work? Does this flow? Is this redundant? You know, the writing coach is really giving you feedback as you go along to make sure that your book is as strong as it can be heading into the draft phase and heading into editing. You know, it's really disheartening when you spend so much time on a book and you send it for editing and it comes back and it's a mess. Like there's so many things that need to change. It just doesn't flow. You know, a writing coach can help you avoid some of those pitfalls and empower you as you continue writing, that you're making the right decisions, following the right steps, and making the most of this opportunity. Just being efficient with your time. As you write books and as you work with other authors, you learn a lot of tips. And working with a writing coach can help you unlock some of these tips. They can make you more efficient with your writing. They can make you more powerful with your writing. And they can really clarify your message so your book can have the strongest impact possible. Either option, whether you want to work with a ghostwriter or a coach, it's really about empowerment. It's really about feeling confident in the process. You know, when you're a first-time author, it's a lot. It's confusing. It's daunting. You know, it's not enough just to write a good book. It's about everything else. It's about the whole process to publication. And being able to work with a ghostwriter or a coach can help make this an easier process for you. So you're making the most of your effort. You know, you're not getting ripped off, because there's a lot of charlatans in this book world who will just offer you services that you really don't need. You really need some support along the way, and ghostwriting or coaching is great. They're both great at being able to help guide you forward. One of the biggest overlapping similarities between ghostwriting and coaching, while they're different, is that they both focus on the foundation of your book. They both focus on the hook, the outline, and the audience. Those three things are crucial for your book's success. And anytime you're working with a professional, you should really think about it in those terms. How are they helping you shore up your audience, your outline, and your hook? You want it to be very clear for the reader what they're going to get out of the book and what the takeaway is, how it's going to impact them in their life, how are they going to carry this message forward. You want somebody, once they're done reading your book, to go onto Amazon and say, this book changed my life. This book empowered me. This book is going to stick with me and carry with me as I move forward in my life. That's what you want. You want that kind of transformative change, and you won't get that transformative change unless you do the work and really spend the time on those foundational elements. And working with a ghostwriter or a coach is going to really strengthen those things and shore up those things and make sure that your book is as impactful as possible. You know, it's really just a way to guarantee a higher likelihood that you're going to get those 4- and 5-star reviews on Amazon, and not the 1- and 2- and 3-star reviews that tank your rating and make it less likely that people are going to find your book. You know, this is a quality control standard. This is about making sure that your book is as strong as possible. It's awesome for me when I can ghostwrite a book and see the results and see how readers are impacted and see the 4- and 5-star reviews and see the glowing responses that readers give and how they're carrying this message forward. That means it's successful. That means it's succeeded. You know, this isn't about getting your book to 1 million people. This is about making a one-on-one connection. This is about building something deep with one reader at a time, because that's what books are all about. Books are all about building that one-on-one connection. And, you know, I think a lot of times authors focus on book sales and numbers and getting their book as widely visible as possible. But I love the idea of changing one life, impacting one reader. I love that. And I think working with the professional is going to help you get there a lot easier than it is flailing by yourself, wondering if you're doing it properly. It's great having those guardrails in place. When you seek to engage a book ghostwriter or a coach, be realistic. Be realistic about what your expectations are, what your skills are, what your budget is. You know, this is really about your needs and your budget and making sure that they're aligned with the work that you're seeking, the help that you're seeking. You know, it's really frustrating sometimes when I'll see book authors who want help and need help, but they don't really have the stamina or the writing skill to be able to finish the writing themselves. But they don't have the money to pay for a ghostwriter because ghostwriters cost more money. It's a weird balance because now you're setting yourself up to fail. There's this gap that the services you're seeking aren't going to fill compared to the needs that you have. And it's it's doomed. It's destined for failure. It's a really frustrating thing, and I think it's with the best intentions. People will seek support with the best intentions, and they will get exactly what they think they need. But this process really requires you to step back, to be honest with yourself. How much time do you have to do writing every week? How much time can you commit to doing writing every week? What is your ability to complete writing? If you have guidance and support, and I think too, it's budget. If you're looking at a good writing coach, it could be $5,000, $10,000 or more. A good ghostwriter is going to cost $25,000, $30,000 or more. So there's different levels, different ranges of price points. And I think it's important to, as you consider engaging with the professional, talk to them and see if your needs and their expertise align. Because if they don't align, this isn't going to be a good fit. I talk with prospective clients regularly. I would say once every week, maybe 2 a week, maybe 3 a week. And a lot of times we talk about these things. What are their needs? What are their goals? What's their budget? And sometimes I will float a ghostwriting budget to them and they say, well, let's pump the brakes. I don't have that kind of money, which is great, which is fine. I understand that. Okay, what can we do? How can I help? This is really not about shoehorning people into specific tiers. It's about finding the right fit. It's about finding the right solution to the problem that's keeping you from finishing this book. And that's what I want you to keep in mind about ghostwriters or coaches. They are the means to help you get across that finish line, to get across that gap, to climb the mountain, to take that next step forward in your business, in your thought leadership, in your journey, in accomplishing your dreams and goals. All of these things are on the opposite side of finishing that book, and being able to find the right person at the right level to help you cross that bridge is an empowering thing and an awesome thing. This topic is fascinating to me, and I think about one of my clients that I had a couple years ago, and he was interested only in publishing his book privately with his family. And it was awesome to think about that, helping him write his story about his life and his family, and digging up all these ancestral details and, research and bringing it all together and, when he was born and when his parents were born, all these things, and telling them in book form. And it was one of my proudest projects, and it's not a book that anybody's ever read. That's what's awesome about this. This isn't always about, getting your message out to the most people. It's about getting the message out to the people who need to read it, the ideal reader for your book. And maybe it's 20 people and maybe it's 2,000 people, but it's an awesome thing to be able to find the right balance and to be able to help someone write a book about their life, because, life goes fast. Life goes fast. I think back to the Ferris Bueller quote. I put it in my yearbook in high school, actually. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. And I think I look at writing a book as one of those things that we all want to accomplish. So many people want to accomplish writing a book and writing a book about their life. Your life matters. Your story matters. And it's awesome to be able to capture it in book form and tell it in a new way and document it and keep it and hold on to it for future generations, for people who want to read it. Your stories and struggles, your ups and downs are going to inform people's understandings of the way that you lived and maybe the way that they can succeed as well. And it's awesome to be able to translate those stories to somebody else, whether it's one reader, whether it's a lot of readers. If you want to learn more about getting someone to help you write your book about your life, go to my website, goodghostwriter.com. You can click the link below. There you can schedule a one-on-one strategy call with me, completely free. Book a call with me, meet with me, we can talk over Zoom. We can explore your story, explore the challenges that you have in bringing this book forward, the opportunities that come with this book, your goals for this book, and the best path forward for you. Whether it's coaching, whether it's ghostwriting, I can give you some tips and ideas and just make this journey a little bit easier for you. Remember, good ghostwriting makes great books. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.